You are watching the broadcast of the El Paso County Commissioners Court meetings. Commissioners Court meetings are held every Monday at 9:30 a.m. on the third floor of the El Paso County Courthouse, located at 500 East San Antonio in downtown El Paso. These meetings are open to the public. The meeting will start momentarily.
Join us at Escalante Park for the 3rd annual Lights on the Lake, Saturday, December 9th at 5 p.m. This holiday event is full of family fun and holiday tradition. The event begins at 5 p.m. with a Jingle Bell Jog, a fun stroll around the lake in your craziest holiday sweater. The lighting ceremony begins at 6 with performances by local groups, community vendors, and more. A free holiday movie, A Christmas Story, begins at 7 p.m. We hope to see you there, December 9th at 5 p.m. at Escalante Park.
You can now watch Commissioners Court meetings on YouTube. Go to youtube.com and search for El Paso County Commissioners or El Paso County, Texas. Subscribe to our channels to see our latest videos.
Commissioner Andrew Haggerty would like to invite you to his weekly breakfast meeting that takes place every Wednesday at 7:30 a.m. at Danny's Diner, located at 4690 Trans Mountain Road. Every week he has a different speaker who will be discussing topics of interest for the community. So if you live in the Northeast, West Side, or anywhere else in the county, come and join us for the breakfast meeting.
Did you know the County of El Paso's Purchasing Department is responsible for ensuring that all items and services needed by various county departments are purchased in the manner required by the state of Texas? Whether through formal sealed bids or smaller dollar quotations, the county purchasing team is dedicated to finding the best contracting return on your taxpayer dollars. Additionally, the purchasing department is responsible for the tracking of inventory within the county and properly disposing surplus to public auctions. For questions about how to become a vendor and compete for county contracts, or to learn more about public auctions, please contact us at telephone number 915-546-2048.
Did you know that you can save money on the cost of your medications? And doing so is easy. In 2015, the County of El Paso launched the Prescription Discount Card Program from coast to coast. The cards are available to all El Paso County residents free of charge and everyone qualifies. You can pick up a card at any county office location, Walgreens, Walmart, CVS, or Target pharmacies, or simply print the card at www.coastrx.com. Happy savings!
Don't wait in line, pay online. Visit the Financial Recovery Division website at http://www.epcounty.com/budget/financialrecovery.htm to make your payments online or find out more about our kiosk locations. We now accept payments on misdemeanor, felony, and justice of the peace cases.
Did you know that the County of El Paso's fixed asset control and inventory disposal is handled through the purchasing department? Throughout the course of each business year, the county holds live public auctions to dispose of aged equipment, vehicles, furniture, and other items that are no longer needed. To find out about upcoming auctions or to learn more about the county's inventory disposal process, contact the purchasing department at telephone number 915-546-2048.
The 346th District Court Judge Angie Juarez Barril started the El Paso Veterans Treatment Court program in 2012 for veterans and active service members that have been arrested and charged with a felony or misdemeanor criminal offense. To be considered for the specialty court, the statutory criteria.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The first item is the call for consent. The consent agenda is composed of items 3A through 3I. Are there any items that members of the court or the public would like to consider separately, please?
Commissioners, any items that you'd like pulled? Move to approve, please.
Second.
Thank you. Commissioner Pettis is absent. Commissioner Leon?
Aye.
Commissioner Stout?
Aye.
Commissioner Haggerty?
Aye.
Judge vote.
Aye.
Motion carries. Moving on to the resolution, item 4. 4A, approve and adopt a resolution recognizing December 4th, 2017 as EduMobile Awareness Day. Reading is power.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. I have the pleasure of reading this resolution this morning. We have here Rebecca Perez from EduMobile. Can you please come up to the podium while I read the resolution, and then we'll hear from you. Whereas EduMobile, Inc. works every day to provide reading programs to children who cannot read at a grade level, and whereas 2 out of 3 students who cannot read proficiently by the end of 4th grade will likely end up on welfare or in jail, and students who cannot read on level by 3rd grade are 4 times less likely to graduate by age 19 than a student who does read proficiently by that time. And whereas EduMobile ensures that every child, regardless of circumstances, is reading at grade level by offering an integrative model that combines innovative reading instruction, one-on-one interaction, mentoring, and parental involvement to accelerate student success. And whereas students at Rosa Guerrero Elementary School who read below grade level are currently receiving these services and are witnessing improvements in their reading scores. And whereas EduMobile's mission is to prepare students for a successful life and to expand its scope to ensure that every child in El Paso is reading at grade level. And now therefore be it resolved by the El Paso County Judge and Commissioners Court that December 4th shall be known as EduMobile Awareness Day. Reading is power. Signed this 4th day of December 2017, the Honorable Commissioners Court.
Second.
Thank you. Commissioner Pettis is absent. Commissioner Leon?
Aye.
Commissioner Stout?
Aye.
Commissioner Haggerty?
Aye.
Judge vote.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Yes, I want to thank all of you for having us here. I am Rebecca Perez, the founder of EduMobile, and our mission is to ensure that all students are reading on grade level so they can complete high school and be ready for a post-secondary education. Our goal for this year is to have a reading center at every housing project so that all those students can be on grade level and complete the high school education. I'm going to introduce our board members, Mr. Hinojosa, Paulina Almanza, Eileen Soto, Ms. Lydia Hinojosa, and on this side to my right is Denise Vasquez and Loreli Ambris. So thank you again for having us and for recognizing the work that we do with the most disadvantaged students in our community.
Thank you so much, and thank you for all of the work that you have done. We look forward to following the progress that you continue to make, and thank you to Commissioner Stout for putting this resolution on the agenda for us to hear today. Thank you for being here.
Very much. Y'all want to come up to the podium and we'll shake your hands.
Thank you.
Ms. Pitek, before we continue, I'd like to lay out what the rest of the meeting will look like. We have many guests here today from the City of El Paso and the Borderplex Alliance and Pacific Union Financial, so thank you for being here. We'll go ahead and go into executive session to take up item 24B. We'll come out of executive session to then vote on its corresponding regular session, item number 25. We will then recess for the public's benefit and the staff that's here to have a press conference in the Commissioner's Court lobby. We'll then return and take up the rest of the business on the agenda. What we will do is when we return, we're going to go ahead and take up item number 16. We have some guests from UTEP here today who have to get back to studying and their finals that are fast approaching. So after we take that item up, we will then resume with the regular flow of the meeting with public comment. So with that, Ms. Pitek, if we could go ahead and go into executive session to take up item 24B.
Yes, Judge, thank you. Commissioners Court will now recess into executive session to discuss item 24B pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.087. The court will reconvene to take official action. It is now 9:39.
Join us at Escalante Park for the 3rd annual Lights on the Lake, Saturday, December 9th at 5 p.m. This holiday event is full of family fun and holiday tradition. The event begins at 5 p.m. with a Jingle Bell Jog, a fun stroll around the lake in your craziest holiday sweater. The lighting ceremony begins at 6 with performances by local groups, community vendors, and more. A free holiday movie, A Christmas Story, begins at 7 p.m. We hope to see you there, December 9th at 5 p.m. at Escalante Park.
You can now watch Commissioners Court meetings on YouTube. Go to youtube.com and search for El Paso County Commissioners or El Paso County, Texas. Subscribe to our channels to see our latest videos.
Commissioner Andrew Haggerty would like to invite you to his weekly breakfast meeting that takes place every Wednesday at 7:30 a.m. at Danny's Diner, located at 4690 Trans Mountain Road. Every week he has a different speaker who will be discussing topics of interest for the community. So if you live in the Northeast, West Side, or anywhere else in the county, come and join us for the breakfast meeting.
Did you know the County of El Paso's Purchasing Department is responsible for ensuring that all items and services needed by various county departments are purchased in the manner required by the state of Texas? Whether through formal sealed bids or smaller dollar quotations, the county purchasing team is dedicated to finding the best contracting return on your taxpayer dollars. Additionally, the purchasing department is responsible for the tracking of inventory within the county and properly disposing surplus to public auctions. For questions about how to become a vendor and compete for county contracts, or to learn more about public auctions, please contact us at telephone number 915-546-2048.
Did you know that you can save money on the cost of your medications? And doing so is easy. In 2015, the County of El Paso launched the prescription discount card program from coast to coast. The cards are available to all El Paso County residents free of charge and everyone qualifies. You can pick up a card at any county office location, Walgreens, Walmart, CVS, or Target pharmacies, or simply print the card at www.coastrx.com. Happy savings!
Don't wait in line, pay online. Visit the Financial Recovery Division website at http://www.epcounty.com/budget/financialrecovery.htm to make your payments online or find out more about our kiosk locations. We now accept payments on misdemeanor, felony, and justice of the peace cases.
Did you know that the County of El Paso's fixed asset control and inventory disposal is handled through the purchasing department? Throughout the course of each business year, the county holds live public auctions to dispose of aged equipment, vehicles, furniture, and other items that are no longer needed. To find out about upcoming auctions or to learn more about the county's inventory disposal process, contact the purchasing department at telephone number 915-546-2048.
The 346 District Court Judge Angie Juarez Barriz started the El Paso Veterans Treatment Court program in 2012 for veterans and active service members that have been arrested and charged with a felony or misdemeanor criminal offense. To be considered for the specialty court, the statutory criteria includes be a veteran or current member of the United States Armed Forces, including a member of the Reserves, National Guard, or State Guard, and suffer from a brain injury, mental illness, or mental disorder, including PTSD, or be a victim of military sexual trauma, all occurring or resulting from military service. Call Sylvia Serna, Veterans Program Director, at 915-546-2119, or email her at sserna@epcounty.com for any information.
9:58, Commissioners Court has reconvened into regular open session. Item 25, discuss and take appropriate action regarding a Chapter 381 agreement with Pacific Union Financial, LLC, contract number 2017-0849.
Good morning.
Good morning. Jose Quiñones, Director of Economic Development. The Department of Economic Development would like to recommend approval from the court to proceed with a 10-year 90% incremental property tax and 10-year 90% personal property tax agreement for a total of $33,366.62.
And to authorize the county judge to sign the 381 agreement with Pacific Union Financial.
Move to approve.
Second.
Commissioner Pettis?
Aye.
Commissioner Leon?
Aye.
Commissioner Stout?
Aye.
Commissioner Haggerty?
Aye.
Judge, a vote.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you so much
That's
for
not
being
a
here.
motion. It's just
We'll go ahead and recess now. If I could have a motion to go into recess to go ahead.
We don't
No
need-
motion necessary?
Judge? No,
Okay.
just go ahead and call the recess.
Recess,
We serve at your pleasure.
9:59 a.m.
And it'll be for 20 minutes, Judge?
It'll be about 20 to 30
For
minutes.
20
Okay,
Yeah.
yes, ma'am.
Join us at Escalante Park for the 3rd annual Lights on the Lake, Saturday, December 9th at 5 p.m. This holiday event is full of family fun and holiday tradition. The event begins at 5 p.m. with a Jingle Bell Jog, a fun stroll around the lake in your craziest holiday sweater. The lighting ceremony begins at 6 with performances by local groups, community vendors, and more. A free holiday movie, A Christmas Story, begins at 7 p.m. We hope to see you there, December 9th at 5 p.m. at Escalante Park.
You can now watch Commissioners Court meetings on YouTube. Go to youtube.com and search for El Paso County Commissioners or El Paso County, Texas. Subscribe to our channels to see our latest videos.
Commissioner Andrew Haggerty would like to invite you to his weekly breakfast meeting that takes place every Wednesday at 7:30 a.m. at Danny's Diner, located at 4690 Trans Mountain Road. Every week he has a different speaker who will be discussing topics of interest for the community. So if you live in the Northeast, West Side, or anywhere else in the county, come and join us for the breakfast meeting.
Did you know the County of El Paso's Purchasing Department is responsible for ensuring that all items and services needed by various county departments are purchased in the manner required by the state of Texas? Whether through formal sealed bids or smaller dollar quotations, the county purchasing team is dedicated to finding the best contracting return on your taxpayer dollars. Additionally, the purchasing department is responsible for the tracking of inventory within the county and properly disposing surplus to public auctions. For questions about how to become a vendor and compete for county contracts, or to learn more about public auctions, please contact us at telephone number 915-546-2048.
Did you know that you can save money on the cost of your medications? And doing so is easy. In 2015, the County of El Paso launched the Prescription Discount Card Program from coast to coast. The cards are available to all El Paso County residents free of charge and everyone qualifies. You can pick up a card at any county office location, Walgreens, Walmart, CVS, or Target pharmacies, or simply print the card at www.coastrx.com. Happy savings!
Don't wait in line, pay online. Visit the Financial Recovery Division website at http://www.epcounty.com/budget/financialrecovery.htm to make your payments online or find out more about our kiosk locations. We now accept payments on misdemeanor, felony, and justice of the peace cases.
Did you know that the County of El Paso's fixed asset control and inventory disposal is handled through the purchasing department? Throughout the course of each business year, the county holds live public auctions to dispose of aged equipment, vehicles, furniture, and other items that are no longer needed. To find out about upcoming auctions or to learn more about the county's inventory disposal process, contact the purchasing department at telephone number 915-546-2048.
The 346 District Court Judge Angie Juarez Barriz started the El Paso Veterans Treatment Court program in 2012 for veterans and active service members that have been arrested and charged with a felony or misdemeanor criminal offense. To be considered for the specialty court, the statutory criteria includes be a veteran or current member of the United States Armed Forces, including a member of the Reserves, National Guard, or State Guard, and suffer from a brain injury, mental illness, or mental disorder, including PTSD, or be a victim of military sexual trauma, all occurring or resulting from military service. Call Sylvia Serna, Veterans Program Director, at 915-546-2119, or email her at sserna@epcounty.com for any information.
Thank you, Judge. Commissioners Court has reconvened into regular open session at 10:37 a.m. Item 16, Public Works. 16, receive a presentation from the University of Texas at El Paso, UTEP, on the final findings of the Civil Engineering Capstone Design course for Ascarity Park, with an emphasis on the results of the plants recommended for the Ascarity Lake. Contract number 2016-0717.
Good morning. Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Norma Palacios with the Public Works Department. With some of the issues that the county was experiencing at Ascarity Park with the algae and inadequate water levels, UTEP reached out to the Public Works Department and offered their assistance to evaluate these areas. And so they have completed their project, and today they're here to provide us their final findings. So joining me will be Dr. Santiago and the civil engineer students that worked on this project to provide the court their final findings.
Thank you.
Good morning, Dr. Santiago.
Good morning. Thank you so much for allowing us to present this project. As you will remember, we started this project about a year ago. The students were given 5 charges that we'll discuss today, and at the time, we provided you with several alternatives for each one of the charges. This time, we have the final designs based on your recommendations and the feedback that was provided by all of you, as well as Norma Palacios. So, I can start here. Here we have the presentation of the proposal, and it was prepared by the senior design students. There's a long list there, but most of the students have graduated since. And the presentation today will be made by Mrs. Lindsay Larson, Julieta Salcedo.
Good morning.
Madison Bencomo.
Good morning.
And then myself, Yvonne Santiago. We'll go over the charges and this morning. So we had the scenic view event, the ADA compliant trails, the drainage solutions, the recreational soccer fields, and of course the parking for all of these facilities. And then of course the most important charge that we'll focus on today is the lake remediation. So Ms. Larson will start describing the site plan with all of the charges and where they would be located in the park.
Hi, good morning. My name is Lindsay Larson. I'll be going over some of our solutions to the charges that we're given.
There's a little button to your right that you can raise the podium with if you push it up.
There you go.
Oh, cool. Thank you. Okay, so here's just an a general site plan of our proposals. The amphitheater is shown in purple. The detention basin that we're proposing for the drainage solutions is shown in the blue, and the location of the soccer fields is shown in green. So this is the location for the scenic view event space that we're proposing. We selected this location because it's right next to the lake, and it'll have a nice view for the audience that's looking at the stage. They can see the lake in the background. It's close to already existing parking lots. We also designed the building so it's facing north to south, so the audience won't have to worry about having the sun in their eyes in the morning or in the evening. So this is just a rendering of the building. This is to show that we used a structural design software to design the amphitheater. We found the requirements for the beams that are needed, and then we included this in the total cost for the amphitheater that we will give you later. The same thing with the geotechnical analysis. So we designed the footings, the foundations, and we found the bearing capacity and the beams that we'll need. And this is also just to show you that everything is included in the total cost. So one of the charges that we're giving was to make the walking trails that are existing ADA compliant. So we're proposing to do a 1.5-inch paved overlay on all of the walking trails. This would make them ADA and IBC, which is International Building Code compliant. It would just make for ease of access for people with wheelchairs to access all areas of the park. So here's an overall site view of the proposals for the stormwater drainage. So we're proposing dry wells located next to the amphitheater, as well as a detention pond across the street for both the parking lot and the newly built soccer fields. So here's a topographic map of the parking lot. We found that water would drain close to the proposed location of the north detention pond. So We are proposing to resurface the parking lot in order to direct all the water across the street into this location. We chose this so it could be used for both the parking lot as well as the soccer field, so a two-in-one type of deal. We're also proposing a forward design because the water will be crossing the street. This is just to show a cross-section of what would be used, and we included this in the total cost analysis for the detention pond. So this will show the drainage of the water from the soccer fields into the detention pond. We designed 7 soccer fields, 55 by 80 feet, and as well this water will go into the detention pond that is used for the parking lot. And this is just a typical cross-section of what we designed. So we're proposing dry wells for the amphitheater. Just due to the depth of the dry wells, they're able to capture all of the runoff that will be generated from the amphitheater. And we chose dry wells because they don't have a lot of surface area, so you wouldn't have to take out any existing parking to input them. Here's an overall site plan of the parking lots. So we're proposing 2 new parking lots, one for the amphitheater, one for the soccer fields, and then we're proposing to resurface the north side parking lot. So we did a traffic model to see how much new traffic will be generated from the amphitheater as well as the soccer fields that are going to be built. And then we designed the amount of parking spaces and ADA compliant spaces to meet up with city code. So here's just a site plan of the north side parking lot. Same with the parking lot for the soccer fields and the number of spaces needed, as well as the amphitheater parking lot. So one of the key charges that we were given was lake remediation. So we were looking into the golden algae, and we found that there's many influential growth factors, that being pH, salinity, temperature, excess availability of nutrients such as nitrogen and phosphates, as well as dissolved oxygen levels in the water. So we found that the lake has had historic blooms on the north end, which has led to fish kills. So we found 4 important methods of mitigation. So we're proposing increased dissolved oxygen and mixing within the lake, to control the nitrogen and phosphate input from runoff from the golf course, nutrient and contaminant control and cleanup, as well as salinity control. So our first method is to input solar aerators. So we took a boat onto the lake and we measured dissolved oxygen levels around the lake. And we created this contour map. So you can see in the red that it's high levels of dissolved oxygen, and then the blue shows very low levels of dissolved oxygen. And we found in the northeast side of the lake that it was very low, which correlates to the algae blooms in the north. So we're proposing 3 aerators, and then we looked into solar aeration because being in El Paso and very sunny, it's a very cost-effective solution. The second method they're proposing is to control the runoff from the golf course. This would be a very simple solution, just shown in red. You could input trees and just plant them there, such as Arizona cottonwood trees. They would soak up the nutrients from the soil. The runoff would carry nitrogen and phosphorus, and they would soak it up before it's allowed to enter the lake. So that'd be a biological barrier. Next, Madison Bencomo is going to talk about our third method that we're proposing. Thank you.
Good morning. For the record, I'm Madison Bencomo, and I'll be discussing nutrient control and another solution, which is floating islands, that we're going to propose to you today. Okay, so floating islands. Floating islands are just composed of a foam-like material that anchor the plants into the lake. And as you can see in the picture right there, the roots act as a natural source for contaminant and nutrient cleanup, meaning that the roots will uptake the excess amount of nitrate and phosphate that is present in the lake. Not only that, but the roots will also be very beneficial for the aquatic life because it'll create another habitat for them. And also, the floating lakes will also create a unique aesthetic feature for Ascarete Lake also. And the price range will range from $25 to $29 per square foot. And we suggest, if implemented, the floating islands to be put near the shores of the lake. The purpose of that is due to the anchorage of the plants to keep intact, and also for easy accessibility for maintenance of these floating islands too. So the floating islands, it's not a new concept. In fact, there are numerous studies of related parks and recreational places that have floating islands and have had similar problems that Escalante Park is having. Just a few examples are present right here. One of them is in China, and the other two are in the U.S., in fact, and they are in Montana and Louisiana, are just a few of the examples. And to go further in depth and elaborate more with the nutrient cleanup and the uptake of the roots is one of my partners, Julieta Saucedo.
Hello, for the record, my name is Julieta Saucedo, and I'm going to talk to you about testing of plants for nutrient uptake. We test several plants, and the ones that showed the best results were African iris and horsetail. The process of the testing was root extraction and servation of the plants, and then we put them in an hydroponic solution, and we monitor the nutrients concentration within that solution to measure that. As I told you before, the phytoremediation results show it that African iris and horsetail had the best results, but since horsetail has the most nitrate removal of the solution, then horsetail will be more ideal, more recommended than African iris. We found a potential provider. They have the patent in the US. They are Floating Island International. They recommended 1 to 8% of coverage, and we calculated an estimate cost for it. For 1% will be $32,670, and for 8% coverage will be $261,360. The fourth method, and really important one, is the salinity control. Here we are proposing to use the lake water to irrigate all the grassland in the park. That will have great results on the reduction of total dissolved solids, reducing by 27% in 6 weeks and 40% in 12 weeks. Now for the construction management, Dr. Santiago will continue. Thank you.
I guess I have to. Thank you, Julieta. So for the construction management, what we've done is provided you with a more accurate estimate than we did last time based on the recommendations that we've shown you today. If you implemented all our recommendations, the total cost would be about $1.8 million. However, we have provided you with an estimate for each one of the charges so that you're aware of the budget and can include it in your next budget as necessary. Moving forward, what are we going to be doing? Well, we will continue monitoring water quality at Lake Escalante and incorporate it into a geographic information system platform. What we found was that there's a lot of information from different people that have collected water quality data, and what we want to do is to compile that into one database that has not just information on time, but also spatial information in the lake and the different areas of the lake. We will continue monitoring for pH, dissolved oxygen, chlorophyll, conductivity, nitrate and phosphate, and temperature. If you implement the floating islands concept, we will evaluate and assess the effectiveness of these islands. One thing that's important, we're not asking you for extra money. We have gotten support to provide some stipends for students and for some field equipment and materials from two sources: the Department of Education STEM Grow program and also from the National Science Foundation. Based on that, what we want to propose later on is to extend the Memorandum of Understanding that is set to expire in October 2018 to October 2021. That's when both of those grants expire, so that we can continue having students going to the lake and monitoring. For your information, I wanted to provide some about the STEM Grow program. It's funded by the Department of Education, and it's a partnership between El Paso Community College and UTEP. And the purpose of the program is to ensure that students of all backgrounds, including minorities and those with disabilities, have appropriate STEM guidance. That's the same for the National Science Foundation program. So we want to have Escalante Lake as one of our two key projects. We've been working with the Rio Grande Bosque, and now we would like to continue with the Escalante Lake. Of course, we want to acknowledge all of you for your continued support, commissioners and judge. We want to thank Para Dauto. She's the one that initiated this collaboration, and of course, Ms. Norma Palacios, that has continued to provide support as interim works director. Dr. Raira Alduri from UTEP has helped us start building that platform with the information, the GIS platform. We want to thank some of the architects that have contributed with their knowledge with the students. Dr. Walsh, professor of biology, Dr. Cesar Carrasco, chair of the civil engineering department, and of course, the PIs and co-PIs for both the STEM Grow program, Dr. Peter Golding and Dr. Helen Geller, who is here as well as Dr. Lourdes Echegoyen and Dr. Laura Diaz from the NSF grant. Having said that, again, thank you so much for this great opportunity. We really want to make this park the central park of El Paso, and we are excited to be able to contribute and help in any way we can. So we welcome your questions.
If you could go back to the slide that had the soccer fields in it for me real quick.
It's right at the beginning. No.
Yes. Why do you recommend artificial turf, and what would be the cost difference for grass instead of artificial turf?
It's just a matter of, even though it's a little more expensive, then you don't have to maintain it, and you don't have to worry about the usage. But, I mean, we could provide you with an estimate with natural grass.
I'm just curious, because it'd be weird to have all the grass and then artificial turf there. So I'm just curious.
But basically it was more easy maintenance. You don't have to water the turf, so. But we could provide you, if you're interested, on a natural.
I was just curious if you guys had done the research on both.
It's easy to keep drained as well, because then we have an underground pipe system that can drain it easily to that north detention pond that we mentioned. And that north detention pond will be connected to the soccer field as well as to the parking lot, north parking lot, which is the one that has flooding problems right now. Mm-hmm.
I'd like to thank you for such a comprehensive report. I think it's really fantastic. Not only do you give us options, but also cost estimates. And it's really great to see opportunities that we have, some may consider challenges at our park, but opportunities that we have moving forward are also helping UTEP as well in being able to engage the students in a tangible project that is also bringing in some funding to the university to help address some of these opportunities. So thank you for all the work.
That's a great thing. And anything we can do to help, or any other charges that you might have, we're willing to help. So,
Commissioners, any other questions? Commissioner Pettis?
Thank you so much for the presentation. It was very comprehensive. Going back to the amphitheater project in particular, I don't know if it was mentioned, but what would be the potential the capacity there would be 1352.
Yeah, and the orientation was very important, north-south, so that people don't have the sun in their eyes, or the performers, in the morning or afternoon, depending on the time.
Something that has changed since our memorandum of understanding was first approved was, obviously the city is attempting to move forward with multi-purpose center, and the city of Las Cruces is actually promoting a 21,000 seat capacity amphitheater. Ascarate has been very successful in attracting musical events. We just had the Sun City Music Festival. And, to me, I was hoping, as the city was considering their options for Cohen Stadium, I thought Cohen Stadium would be a great place for an amphitheater and bring a different type of facility that currently doesn't exist in El Paso, because I know that capacity of these types of things has been an issue. But I wonder, does Ascarate, from I guess your familiarity with all the work it is that you've done, would Ascarate have a capacity for a large amphitheater that has a capacity of over 20,000 or so?
I think it would, but it would have to tap into all the land on the east part of the park. There's a lot of land there, and then maybe some of those fields would have to go, but I think it would be possible, yeah.
Well, I think as we look at the competitiveness of our region, I know we already lose a lot of concerts to NMSU, but the Board of Regents there at the University of New Mexico allocated 55 acres of land. I know we have more than that on Ascarate, but I just wonder, if that's something that we can work in, perhaps in partnership with the city of El Paso, and just seeing if that's a possibility. But it would bring you know, this helps us to generate ideas, you know, and thank you to the students who worked on this. But I wonder if that's just a possibility that, you know, we can explore to kind of already harness some of the strengths we've already seen.
It would shift the use of the park, really, because the way that the students were viewing the park was as along inside the city. This is like the only park with the lake inside a city of this size. And so what we were looking was at ways where we can, you know, bring people to the park. What can we do to the park to bring more people? Not just for venues, but during the day. I mean, if you have an afternoon in El Paso and you have kids, on a hot day, where can you go? So this is a great option. And so we were trying to find ways to entice the use of the park as more as a park and as an occasional venue, but we can explore that possibility as well.
I'm glad you brought that up because it was a question I had as I was looking at the size of the amphitheater, and you know, the how would we be able to use it, and if, you know, 1,300 seats is really going to be big enough for, you know, for I mean, if we want to be able to have more concerts. I mean, I'm trying to think what kind of events we would have there where you would only have about 1,300 people. I mean, it would be small productions and things like that, and definitely I think maybe we need to look at a larger scale to make it more impactful, to do exactly what you're talking about, and bring more people to the park. You know, maybe that's something that we can look at as we move forward with the MOA. I want to again thank you all to the students and to you for putting this together. Azcárate is in the area that I represent. And to tell you the truth, about 95% of the constituent calls that I get in my office are regards to Azcárate Park, and you know, we've been talking to folks about, you know, we get a lot of calls about the fish and a lot of calls about the lake, and so, you know, these are some. I love the fact that you guys are providing us with some solutions that we can possibly work on, and we can, you know, talk to these folks that use the park and let them know that we're trying to be proactive and we're working on solution. And, you know, it's a win-win for us because, you know, you all get the opportunity to get some hands-on real life experience and prepare yourselves for, you know, when you graduate and when you finish school. But we also get the benefit of the work that you all do, and it's not, and it's not our resources that we're putting towards it. So I think this is a great program, and I definitely think that we should continue the MOU to 2021, and I really hope that we can look for ways to fund some of the recommendations that they're making, especially when it comes to the lake and the salinity and the levels of other nutrients that are causing, you know, I mean, I don't know how much money we spent when all the fish died, and how much money we spend quite a bit of money in stocking the lake, and we want, of course, the fish to continue to thrive and have a habitat in which they can survive. And so, you know, I really appreciate the work that you all are doing, and I, for one, am gonna definitely advocate that we move forward with some of the solutions that you're providing for us. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And one last question on Commissioner Stout topic on the lake, the floating islands. You did mention, I want to make sure that I reiterate that they have been used to help address golden algae issues in other locations.
They've been used to address nitrate and phosphate issues in other places, as well as heavy metals in other places. And in fact, in the places where it's just an issue of nitrogen and phosphate, the floating islands have vegetables and other things. In this case, we're just recommending the use of the horsetail and the iris, and we'll continue monitoring to make sure if you want to change that in the future, we can do that.
Thank you. Thank you very much, and
thank
you
you
for
so
being
much.
here. Good luck with your finals, and have a great holiday
Thank
season.
you. So can we be dismissed, please?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And apologize that we kept you longer than we anticipated.
Item 5, public comment.
Pisek, we have one individual signed up for public comment, Mr. Jose Landeros.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Morning, Judge, Commissioners. Jose Landeros with the Office of Commissioner Vince Perez. If IT will pull up the slide I just sent them. I wanted to let the court and the public know that this week the county will be hosting a series of community meetings alongside the Texas A&M Transportation Institute. Again, the county is engaged and will soon be wrapping up our county regional transit study. And we have a series of public meetings over this next week. Tomorrow afternoon we'll be in Fabens. On Wednesday we will be out in Montana Vista. On Thursday we will have a regional stakeholders meeting, which are all the technical representatives from all the agencies across the region. We'll be meeting at the El Paso MPO boardroom. Thursday evening the community meeting will be out in the Ganotillo area at Deanna Davenport Elementary, and the last meeting will be on Saturday at the EPCC Mission Campus right off of the Gateway and East Lake Boulevard. We encourage the public to attend. These will be charrette-style meetings where the scenarios that the Commissioners Court learned of in October from TTI will be formally presented to the public, and the public will actually be asked to provide their feedback as to what scenario they would like to see the county pursue. As you can recall, there were 5 different scenarios, and so the input from the public is greatly needed to finalize their report, and so wanted to just make sure that these were up. We worked with each of your offices to ensure that flyers were sent out to your list of constituents, to any stakeholders that you may be familiar with. And in addition, Public Works dropped off flyers all across the county at post offices, elementary schools. We coordinated our flyer, this flyer, to be included on Socorro ISD's weekly newsletter blast that just went out at the end of last week. So we are doing all we can to ensure that the public is as aware of these meetings as possible. Okay,
thank you.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Landeros and Commissioner Bettis, for your office's work on this transit study. It's been really great for the community, and to Public Works as well, and Sal and Norma for your work on this.
Thank you. Moving on to board appointments, item 6. Approve and authorize the reappointment of Dr. Peter M. Thompson, MD, MS, to the Emergence Health Network Board of Trustees for a 2-year term beginning January 1st, 2018 through December 31st, 2019.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. This is a request for a reappointment of Dr. Thompson. He was not able to be here this morning, but he did express gratitude for being reconsidered.
So I just wanted to let you all know that, of course, I work very closely with Dr. Thompson and with Joyce Wilson on the EHN board, and Dr. Thompson is he works for Texas Tech, and he's a great asset on the board and has helped to better the relationship between EHN and Texas Tech. He's very knowledgeable when it comes to many of the issues that come up when we're talking about clinical issues and others. I know that the CEO is also in favor of Dr. Thompson being reappointed. And of course, Joyce Wilson is also, she's been on for a shorter time, but I think she's doing a great job. She's jumped in and as you all know, she runs the workforce solutions, workforce solutions, and she has been very instrumental in working on some of our HR issues that we've been having, as well as looking at looking at a market study for our employees at EHN, and definitely providing some assistance to the CEO and mentorship value. So I would definitely ask that we reappoint both of those members. I think they're great additions to the board.
Judge, would you like us to read in the other item at the same time?
If we could, please, unless the court has any issue with voting on both items, or both appointees, reappointments. No? Okay.
Item 7, approve and authorize the reappointment of Joyce Wilson to the Emergence Health Network Board of Trustees for a 2-year term beginning January 1st, 2018 through December 31st, 2019.
So that's it. I don't know if anybody has any questions, but I'll go ahead and move to approve the reappointment of both Dr. Thompson and Joyce Wilson to the EHN board.
Second.
Commissioner Pettis?
Aye.
Commissioner Leon?
Aye.
Commissioner Stout?
Aye.
Commissioner Haggerty?
Anybody else think it was weird that the X-Files theme just happened while we're talking about mental health?
It was probably Joyce. She was.
Aye. It was terrifying.
Judge vote.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 8, approve and authorize the reappointment of Commissioner David Stout's appointee, Burl McCollum, to the El Paso County Veterans Advisory Board for a 2-year term beginning December 1st, 2017 through November 30th, 2019.
Thank you, Judge and Commissioners. I just wanted to say that I'm very proud to move for reappointment of Mr. McCollum, who's joined us at the podium right now, to the board. He's an Air Force veteran, and he's been on the board for 2 years now. And he's done a great job serving as their chair as well. He brings a lot of wisdom and experience, and I think has definitely helped to steer the board in the right direction. I don't know if you have anything that you'd like to say, Mr. McCollum, before we vote, but I'm definitely.
I'll say one thing is that I'm very appreciative for you appointing me, and we're consuming for reappointment as well.
Okay, so go ahead and move for reappointment.
Second.
Commissioner Pettis?
Aye.
Commissioner Leon?
Aye.
Commissioner Stout?
Aye.
Commissioner Haggerty?
Aye.
Judge vote.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service.
Appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Glad to have you back.
Item 9, approve and authorize the reappointment of Commissioner Andrew Haggerty's appointee, Juan Rocha, to the El Paso County Veterans Advisory Board for a 2-year term beginning December 1st, 2017 through November 30th, 2019.
I spoke with Mr. Rocha and his wife, Zelda, who's his ears. Proud Marine. Very active in the community, comes to my constituent meetings, always has a lot to say, always informs the group of what's going on at the Veterans Committee Advisory Board, and I would like to keep him on for another term. So, move to approve.
Second.
Was that Commissioner Leon seconding?
No, ma'am, it was
Commissioner
Stout.
Judge, okay, thank you. Commissioner Pettis?
Aye.
Commissioner Leon?
Aye.
Commissioner Stout?
Aye.
Commissioner Haggerty?
Aye.
Judge vote.
Aye.
Motion carries. Commissioners Court, item 10. Receive an update on the development of the El Paso Metropolitan Planning Organization's 2045 Destino Metropolitan Transportation Plan, MTP. Further, discuss and take any appropriate action regarding the county's submission and take any related projects to the 2045 Destino MTP.
Morning.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Jose Londeros with the Office of Commissioner Perez. The county's appointment to the MPO's TPAC. I wanted to provide you an update on the development of the new planning documents at the El Paso MPO. If you all recall, back in, I guess to start, not to get ahead of myself, to give you a brief overview as to what exactly those planning documents are. It is a current document that will cover all projects transportation-wise for the entire region through the year 2045. It is a process that is required by federal law and federal rules. In addition, El Paso, because we are a non-attainment air quality area, actually have to repeat this process every 4 years. So in 2021, you will see the MPO and the region redoing this exact process once more. Back in April of this year, the court authorized the submission of various projects to the MPO. The MPO then developed what they called a project alternative list, which included the projects they felt were of regional significance. The issue here is, as we've spoken with each of you about the item, the issue that has come up is that as each agency develops their projects for submission, it's done so in a vacuum. We submit projects and we say, this project works well for us in this year, and that's what we're going to submit. The issue is that once you actually get to the MPO and you have all the agencies in the region submitting projects, there's an obvious need to, there are years that are quite popular for projects, and then there are years that aren't as popular. And so projects need to change. Projects need to change possibly in scope and year. And the point of the presentation today is to give you an update as to what those changes were that staff initiated at the MPO as part of the process. The pending county action items would be to, after reviewing the amendments, approve the amendments to the project submissions, and then also consider co-sponsoring projects with the City of Socorro and the Village of Vinton that have been determined to not just be regular road projects, but road projects that sort of rise to a higher level, a level of regional significance given the way that they plan on serving the community. And then at the MPO, after today's meeting, the next meeting at the MPO will be the TPAC. We will meet on Wednesday. That will be the final opportunity for any agency to make changes or request projects to be included in the final project list. On Friday of this week, the executive committee, which is made up of the policy board members, they will meet and they will review the recommended project list from TPAC. And then on the 15th of December, the Transportation Policy Board will actually vote to approve the recommended list that the TPAC recommended to them. After that, the projects are submitted to the Federal Highway Administration for their review and ultimately their approval. And once that is approved, the region will have a new long-term planning document, which is the 2045 Metropolitan Transportation Plan, which here in El Paso has the name of Destino. The projects that the county originally submitted, we had a few criteria. We wanted to ensure that they were, one, regionally significant, that they met federal, state, and MPO requirements for significance, that we would be able to use these roads to actually reflect performance-based valuations. In other words, these roads that we're building, are they actually helping reduce traffic? Are they actually helping to improve air quality? Those were goals of the county as we developed these projects. Another important thing to remember is that the costs that are reflected in the outer years of this plan require a 4% annual inflation rate. And that is a standard that is recommended from the National Association of MPOs. So as you'll see later that the project cost increased significantly, a large part of that has to do with the fact that the cost is being significantly inflated. When it comes to planning, you'd obviously rather be conservative than underestimate. But again, because this process will repeat in 4 years, we have the ability to revise those estimates as we start getting closer to the actual projects, beginning construction and or design. These were the 8 projects that were submitted by the county. All of the project's alignment goals are reflected in the MPO's planning documents, which is very significant. It's worth noting that one, the last 2 projects, the Aguilera International Highway phases 3 and 4, are actually TxDOT projects because that roadway is now under the maintenance of TxDOT. So those projects are in the plan, but will be constructed and financed by TxDOT. The other thing that is the other major change is County Road A, which I'll get into in a little bit more detail right now. That project was actually realigned to improve another project, and so even though you won't see County Road A specifically as we move on, know that the goals of what it was trying to meet are captured within the new alignment in the Tom Mays project. The first project, there were two priorities for the county. The first was the John Hayes extension on the far east side. It would provide a north and south connection between Belicano Drive and Mountwood Drive. Originally, we submitted this project to be in fiscal year 2022. It's about a 3-mile long road. But again, because of the need to scope and amend the scope and phase in projects, this is the outcome. As opposed to doing everything at once, we will now actually begin design next fiscal year. Construction in 2023 for the first phase, and then the second phase of construction will commence in 2027. You can see that the original project cost has increased a bit. Part of that, again, has to deal with the fact that instead of building the road in 2022, we are waiting an additional 5 years. And at 4% inflation, the cost can start to grow when you're talking about projects in the millions. This project received significant support from TxDOT and was originally included in the MPO's list of recommended projects because it helps to, one, provide connectivity between two fast-growing parts of the county, and also provides an alternate route along 375 in case there should ever be some traffic incident. You could actually move traffic onto John Hayes. The second priority for the county is on the far west side. It was originally titled the Tom Mays / Northwestern Extension. This project is of particular importance because it provides the residents of the Westway community with an alternate route out of their community. Currently, they have to rely solely on Westway Boulevard and the interstate to get to and from where they're going. That can create significant issues, especially if there's an incident on I-10. The original plan was to extend Tom Mays down to the old Job Batch Plant Road, and then from there create a second road that would connect to I-10 and go under the interstate. Once these projects were submitted to the MPO, we found that the city had actually submitted a project that wanted to extend Wrestler north of 375 Trans Mountain. And the county and the city agreed that that would be a better alignment. And so now the project name changes from Tom Mays to and Wrestler Extension. You can see here that the road is just shifted to the east, and instead of connecting to Northwestern, we'll connect to Wrestler. The reason why this is of particular importance and this is a better alignment is because even with the old alignment, had there been a traffic incident on I-10 south of where residents would be able to access the interstate, you would still be stuck in the same traffic. And this will provide direct connectivity to neighborhood centers like commercial development, the new hospitals, and the UMC clinic that are being built or have been constructed in the area. So it's a pretty significant project. We'll begin design in 24 as opposed to 2027, construction in 29. The revised project cost is higher. That has to do not only with the inflation, but also with the fact that the road is longer. So when you consider the fact that instead of doing 2 roads, we'll only be doing 1, some of that cost is reflected in this revised cost. And this is supported by TxDOT, the MPO, as well as the city of El Paso. Bob Hope is a extension that will come east of 375 and connect ultimately to Mission Ridge Boulevard, which is one of the county's current CMP projects. This is just moving out from 27 to 31, and the only major change in cost is due to inflation. The same goes for Tierra del Este, which follows alignment to John Hayes. You can see it connecting Cozy Cove to Belicano. Originally, we had this out in 2030. It's moving out to 2037. 3 miles. They increased $10 million cost, again, dealing with inflation. But As we go through this process in 4 years, if this roadway should become a priority, and this is already in the planning documents, we have the opportunity to then say, we want to bring this project in to the more recent network, and so that'll be part of that conversation for the court and the MPO to have at that time. Darrington is the farthest project out there. It's in 2041. It's a widening from 2 to 4 lanes. We had a constituent call in our office, ask why the county just repaved Darrington, and we're planning to turn this into a 4-lane road now, to which we let them know, well, if all goes according to plan, we won't reconstruct until 2041. So at that point, they said, well, thank you for repaving the road now, as opposed to waiting 20 years. So this one lines up with a widening of Darrington that the town of Horizon City has engaged in currently to try and serve the needs of their emerging industrial park. Some of the county's economic development policies reflect the want to promote the industrial park in the area. And should this project be needed in the future, you want to accelerate it. Again, the fact that it's in the plan makes it easier to try and do that in the first place. Those are the county projects. These next 2 slides deal with the projects of regional significance that the county was asked to consider supporting. The first is the City of Socorro's Arterial 1682. This is the reason why this road is regionally significant is for the following reasons. This green square here represents the boundaries of the City of Socorro. The purple here on the left side of the slide is the Isleta del Sur Pueblo Reservation. And then to the east of this, you have the City of San Elizario. The road is that red line that runs from the Pueblo all the way up to that yellow line, which is Interstate 10. The proposed year is 2029, and it's about a 4-mile long roadway. The City of Socorro is planning on funding the entire design of this project with the hope of being able to try and accelerate this into a much closer fiscal year as opposed to waiting to 2029. They have the intent of approaching various regional partners, including the county, the Isleta del Sur Pueblo, the City of San Elizario, and the town of Clint. The idea is that this road, although it runs through the City of Socorro, because of its proximity to the city limits of San Eli, the Pueblo, and because part of the road actually runs through the unincorporated area of the county, is that there might be some cost-sharing opportunities available. We looked at the length of the road, and we looked at how much of it ran through unincorporated area currently, and estimate that it's about 20% of the length of the road that's in an unincorporated area. And so the request is to fund 20% of the local match required for construction. So in 2029, which is in 12 years from today, or 11 years because we're at the end of the year, that'll be just over $1 million. That same match, if that project were to occur today and you got rid of all the inflation, would be just under $700,000. And that would be just to provide a contribution towards the construction match that Socorro will need for this project. This project is part of the TxDOT's Border Highway East study area. Ultimately, the border highway is proposed to extend from Zaragoza and 375 all the way out to the Tornillo port of entry, and will follow a close alignment along the border, similar to the way it does within the city of El Paso. This project comes out of that study and will ultimately provide connectivity between the border highway east and the interstate, which is why Socorro felt it was an important project to begin to try and work on today as opposed to 10 years from now. The border highway east is included in the plan at the MPO and should begin construction and be complete sometime before 2030, which means this roadway should follow a similar timeline, and that's the reason why Socorro requested that it be programmed in fiscal year 2029. The second project that the county was approached on is the Village of Vinton, Valley Chili Road. Similar circumstance, the green is the Village of Vinton, the blue is the town of Anthony, and the road in question is actually the city limit between both municipalities. This is a little over a mile and is scheduled to begin construction in 2030. Vinton would fund the design costs, and because there's 3 agencies involved here, potentially, Anthony, Vinton, and the county, we estimated that a 33% county participation would be sufficient. And again, these matches, these contributions, these co-sponsorings are limited only to the local match construction, right? So when it comes to the design, the right-of-way, all of those would be still the responsibility of the requesting agency here. So you can see that the cost in 2030 is a little under $500,000, and in today's dollars would be just a little over $300,000. This table breaks down the financial and the years and the changes that were made, then gives you the total project costs and the total county match that would be required through 2045. It's the $41 million match is not going to be required next fiscal year. It's going to be required over the span of the entire plan. There's 2 things that are worth noting. Towards the bottom, the additional local contribution. For the design of one of the projects, John Hayes, the amount of money that is at the MPO is insufficient to cover the estimated cost of the design, and that's the project that we would begin in 2019. So there is a possibility that we would need to cover whatever the shortfall was, which we estimated being just under $700,000. However, once we actually begin that design process, we may find out that that's not the case and that number may be lower. Additionally, this table reflects the total cost of co-sponsoring the Socorro and Vinton projects, which would be about $1.6 million, which would bring the total county commitment to this new plan in both required match for the county-only projects, the additional local contribution, as well as the additional match contribution to Socorro and Vinton's projects, to just shy of $44 million. And again, that's not $44 million all at once, but rather over the span of the entire 2045 plan. And so that would be the total commitment. We wanted to ensure that as the decision-making body for the county, that all these changes that staff made and recommended are recommending were presented to you all for your ratification to ensure that the court reaffirms its commitment to these projects and these amounts in these fiscal years. And if there should be any change that's required or requested, that we have the ability to go back to TPAC on Wednesday and request those changes. The recommended action items are to very simply approve the amendments to the project submissions and then authorize staff to submit new project request forms to the El Paso MPO when those forms are requested. And in relation to the City of Socorro and the Village of Vinton's projects, determining the projects to be of regional significance and authorize staff to notify the MPO that the county will co-sponsor the projects in the amounts listed here. For City of Socorro, we would limit it to 20% of the project's construction local match requirement, and for Vinton, 33% of the project's construction local match requirement. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you all may have.
Commissioner Harry? I know he brought this up. I just want to reemphasize, because I get a lot of calls from some of the other entities, Anthony and Vinton, always asking for help with roads. And we just need to make sure we clarify that this is helps everybody's situation and not one of the things where people come and say, well, you did for this group, so where's my road situation? We just want to make sure everybody understands this helps the whole community, including county residents. This is not something where people are going to come in, and we're not setting a precedent where we're going to now fix everybody's roads. So I just want to make sure that that is on the record, because I don't want someone to come up and throw this in our face later saying, well, you did this for these 2 organizations, where's mine? And so just one thing I want to make sure we were.
Yes, sir. And when we had that conversation, I think I mentioned that there were other agencies that, the City of El Paso, Town of Horizon City, they've submitted projects that are serving the residents of their communities, and these projects sort of rise above just a municipal specific project. And again, that's the reason why the county is looking to partner with them in the spirit of the projects rising to that real level of regional significance. Yes, sir.
And I agree, Commissioner Haggerty. Part of the beauty is during the development of the county mobility plan, a lot of those projects were within the city of El Paso. And so not only does this show our effort to partner with other municipalities, but it does so in that the MPO is pushing toward all these projects being regionally significant. And that's exactly what these two projects do for those areas. I appreciate all the work that went into making sure that all of the projects that the county was putting forward were included in this plan. I know that it pushes some of them out a bit, but it does give us some flexibility as well that if we do come about some money, we can push those projects up in time. Right. And so I appreciate that and all the work that you did, Jose and Sal and Norma, to make sure that these projects were in there and on behalf of the county. And I hear all the time from the MPO and from TxDOT that they wish that every other governing entity planned the way that the county does. You guys have done an amazing, and all of you have done an amazing job of making sure that you set a standard that others, we hope, will follow, and making the life at the MPO just a little bit easier. So,
thank you, Judge.
I've got a question. Jose, I just want to talk about the inflation rate. That's the 4% is what we're calculating it to be. So is that, I mean, looking at past trends, is that conservative, or I mean, I just want to make sure that we're not underfunding a project, that's going to be done in 2040 or something like that.
Yes, sir. And that's actually a healthy conversation that occurred at TPAC with most entities making the case, including the county, that we've not seen 4% annual inflation in quite some time. And the response is that it's done to ensure that that you capture any sort of unknown variables that may occur in 10 years. And it's an ultra conservative figure. I don't think that the county engages in in estimating 4% inflation on most things, but this is done for a planning purpose. And when you look at other MPO regions that have to adopt this plan and then are sort of stuck with this plan for quite some time, I think that serves them most definitely. The benefit to this region in that we have to redo this every 4 years, although it is a significant strain on the resources of the MPO, and it's a lot of meeting and a lot of collaboration that happens in a very short time frame, is that we'll have the ability to revise these estimates, right? So in 2021, when this process begins again, we could look at the Darrington project, for example, that's out all the way out in 2041, and say that the original construction estimate is much lower than we thought. And we could revise that, and then it'll still be projected out, but we'll have a more accurate sense of what the cost will be. So the El Paso region, which includes parts of southern New Mexico, has that added benefit of being able to update our figures every 4 years, despite the fact that the numbers are very conservative and are in line with national standards for planning on transportation projects.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Commissioners, any other questions or concerns? Okay. I would move to approve the amendments to the project submissions and authorize staff to submit the forms to the MPO to co-sponsor the project listed with the city of Socorro and the village of Vinton. I hope that's all inclusive.
That's fine, as reflected in the slide under recommended action items as the presentation in the backup. Thank you.
Second.
That was Commissioner Leon seconding. Thank you. Commissioner Pettis? Aye. Commissioner Leon?
Aye.
Commissioner Stout?
Aye.
Commissioner Haggerty?
Aye.
Judge Vogt?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Ms. Pitzek, if we could take up items 13 and 14, I believe we have a guest with us here today, and we'd like to be able to let them go about their day.
Yes, Judge, thank you. Item 13, litigation, justice, and law enforcement. Item 13, approve and authorize the county judge to sign the grant award modification number 3 for the West Texas HIDA Prosecution Initiative Grant GS 17 SW00003A for the District Attorney's Office. This award modification is at no cost to the county, contract number 2017-0825. On item 14, approve and authorize the county judge to sign the grant award modification number 4 for the West Texas HIDA Multiple Initiatives Grant G17 SW0001A for the Sheriff's Office. This award modification is at no cost to the county. Contract number 2017-0826.
Good morning.
Good morning, Your Honor, Commissioners. My name is Travis Kirkendall, and I'm the Director of the West Texas High Intensity Drug Trafficking Federal Grant Program for Drug Law Enforcement. We've been in existence 22 years. Commissioner Leon used to be the chairman of our board when he was the chief of police. In 1995, Sheriff Zamaniego came to this commission court and asked permission to be the law enforcement sponsor for the federal grant program. He asked the commissioners at that time to be the principal fiduciary for the program, and it was approved at that time, and we've been in business now for 22 years. We brought in about $220 million worth of federal grant funds to the community for drug law enforcement. The mission of it is to bring all law enforcement together, to work together, to be more effective in countering drug trafficking and drug movement and use and abuse here in our community. We've been extremely successful over the years. We have about 20 active agencies involved at the present time. The two largest ones, of course, are the El Paso County Sheriff's Office and the El Paso Police Department. But we also have places like Alpine, Texas, Fort Stockton, Midland, Odessa, Socorro, Anthony. So we cover 14 counties in the state. Our base funding for the year is about $8,290,000. We brought that budget to you sometime back for approval, and you did approve it. What's on the agenda today are two modifications for additional money that we were able to render. The Congress appropriates funding for the grant in increments. And we get our baseline funding, which is required by wording in the appropriation passed by Congress. And then there's additional discretionary money that we vie for. And this is what the funds in these two modifications represent. And when we submit our budgets each year, there's always a shortfall, and this money is the makeup for the shortfall. $125,000 of it is additional funding that we requested to participate with the Texas Against Gangs program, the TAG, which is led, I believe, by the city now, but nearly all of the law enforcement is involved in it. And this was our participation. We needed a lot of equipment and stuff, and we were able to get that out of supplemental funding. So that's what the two requests are today. But I don't want to pass up the opportunity to thank the County of El Paso, the Commissioner's Court, and all of the departments for the support that they've given us over the years. The County Auditor's Office, they've been fabulous. The County Attorney's Office, purchasing, everything it did, they've just been fabulous. I've been there 22 years, and I don't think I'll ever leave unless somebody runs me off, because it's such a joy to come to work every day and work with the people we work with. And I couldn't miss that opportunity to bring that in. So, but those are what the modifications are. Unlike many of the people that come before you, we don't come and ask for money. We come and give you money. Yeah, so we do it a little bit different. But your support of the program is highly appreciated by our board. Our board of directors, by the way, is made up of 12 individuals. They're the chiefs of all the law enforcement agencies that have some role in drug law enforcement. Our chief of police, of course, our sheriff, the head of DEA, FBI, Border Patrol, Texas Department of Public Safety, district attorney, U.S. attorney. So there's 12 of them all together. They are the ones that make all the decisions on how we operate and how we spend our funds and everything, and they're my bosses. So if you happen to run into them, you put in a good word for me. So thank you very much.
Move to approve both items.
If you have any questions, I'd be glad to try to answer them.
Any questions?
No questions. A motion was made for approval of both items. Second.
Thank you. Commissioner Pettis?
Aye.
Commissioner Leon?
Aye.
Commissioner Stout?
Aye.
Commissioner Haggerty?
Aye.
Judge vote.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you for being here, and we apologize for the wait.
You appreciate it.
County Administration, item 11, discuss and take appropriate action regarding the Federal Aviation Administration Unmanned Aircraft Systems Integration Pilot Program with the University of Texas at El Paso.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. We're still in the morning. Just a couple updates. We had another meeting with potential partners this last week. I believe I had already reported, but just in case, El Paso Fire and El Paso Police Department are on board with being partners with us on this project. TxDOT attended this last week. They seemed extremely excited about the project, had done some previous research years back on the potential of what this project would deliver, and they had run into the barriers that this project is actually designed to address on the use of unmanned drones. And so they're very excited about the project. We hope that they'll be a partner with us. We are still working on identifying contacts at Endeavor Western Refinery, the new name for Western Refinery. So if any members of the court have a contact, that a person we could contact there, we'd appreciate it. We're also working on bringing on Mescalero Apache Tribe to be a partner with us in the project. My office is trying to make contact there today as well. We've made contact but have not been able to get response. So today we're trying a different contact. This past week we submitted a question about the use of certain airspace with our UTEP partners in order to be prepared for the response on this SIR, and that's pretty much everything I have on this project. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Betsy.
Thank you.
So no action on this item?
No action.
Thank you. Judiciary and Corrections, item 12. Approve and authorize the county judge on behalf of the El Paso County Juvenile Probation Department to sign the contract for residential services for juvenile placement with Cornell Corrections of Texas, Incorporated, doing business as Hector Garza Center for November 1st, 2017 through October 31st, 2018. Funding is available in the TJJD Commitment Diversion 2018 grant. County Attorney's Office has reviewed and approved as to legal form contract number 2017-0676.
I don't see anybody in the audience to address this item. Oh, perfect. Thank you. We appreciate you being here this morning. Thank you. Good morning.
Sorry, I'm a little sick.
Please.
Did you guys have questions on the contract? If you reviewed it?
Yes, if you could just give us a brief overview on what it does just for the court's benefit and the public.
Sure. Good morning. My name is Iris Escalon. I'm the Title IV coordinator for the Juvenile Probation Department. With Hector Garza, we're using it as a placement, out-of-home placement for the kids that need any mental health treatment and substance abuse services. And Ms. Anderson is here also to address any questions.
Good morning.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. Kathleen Anderson, Assistant County Attorney. This is very similar to the previous consent items that you approved. It's just the dollar amount was higher on this, so that's what kicked it over to the regular agenda. But if you have any questions, we're happy to answer them.
Perfect.
Just one, Judge, one quick question. The center, is it located here in El Paso? Where is the center?
The Hector Garza Center is in San Antonio.
San Antonio. Okay.
Bayer County. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Commissioner Pettis?
Aye.
Commissioner Leon?
Aye.
Commissioner Stout?
Aye.
Commissioner Haggerty?
Aye.
Judge vote.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Feel better?
Thank you.
Economic Development, item 15. Discuss and take appropriate action regarding the revisions to the County of El Paso's Comprehensive Incentives Policy, OP 17439, and Mission Trail Guidelines and Criteria, OP 17440.
Good morning. Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Jose Quiñones, Economic Development. We're here to provide you a quick briefing on the revisions to the Economic Development. Before I go into it, I do want to make sure that we went through an extensive process, meeting individually with you. We also had a special Commissioners Court meeting in which we got input from all of you, and we appreciate it very much because we were able to fine-tune this policy very well. I'd be glad to go through this lengthy presentation. The department does recommend that the court approve the revisions to the policy.
Because we've gone over this previously, both at the special meeting and then in multiple one-on-ones, would you all like us to give a quick overview, or would you like us to go more in depth? We discussed it and thought the court may want just a quick overview.
That's fine.
I think a quick overview would be ideal for the public, but very brief.
So maybe Jose just hit the key points.
Just some key points. We added some definitions to the policy, such as defining the corporate headquarters, what that is. We defined median county wages. We updated a section on quality jobs. We tightened that quality jobs definition and also the criteria for quality jobs. That after much input from all of you, we kind of went the other way of the pendulum on that. But I think things are tightening up, and we see that because the Part A of the policy that deals with county-wide incentives, I think we wanted to ensure that in any place in the county where it makes sense, we would bring a project for the court's consideration. Part B is where we focus most of our efforts in the policy, and that's where we defined for you brought on a new zone, the investment zone called the Horizon City Investment Corridors. And we also removed some of the requirements for prevailing wages for any investment zone. So that got eliminated. The other thing is on the Horizon City Economic Development Corporation gave us some great input and requested that they be added on as an area for growth due to their demographics being a little bit different. They're going a different route versus some other investment zones that have been created back in our original policy in July. And really that in a nutshell is most of what the revisions focused on. Any questions? We are ready to go do an outreach, just so the court knows. We want to go out and do an outreach, and that is going to involve putting out a press release, putting out on Constant Contact, going out, and we have a long list of community and business organizations we're going to talk to. Specifically with the investment zones, we want to create that dynamic discussion and input so we can see those investment zones move. We didn't create them just for them to stay stagnant. We really need to make an outreach. We are also reaching out to each of you as part of this outreach plan to ensure that we can present at your community meetings. And if you have other organizations you'd like for us to touch on, the staff is ready to do that. Okay.
I want to thank the entire Economic Development Department for doing such an amazing job. I know this has not been an easy feat by any means, and you've received a lot of feedback not only from the court but from outside stakeholders, and so thank you for that. It's really exciting to see that we've honed in on our economic development efforts. We've got these 7 investment zones. We're focusing on the Mission Trail, on the Chain Link grant program. There's a lot involved in this package, and so I look forward to the community receiving as much information over the coming months as it's distributed and you present with folks and meet with folks. So thank you for all of that effort. It does not go unnoticed, so thank you. Does the court have any questions? Okay. Commissioner Bettis?
Thank you very much. Jose and Myra, for all your work. I mean, I know a lot of work has gone into this, and I'm really pleased to see the direction that the county's moving in. This is a really thought-provoking exercise, and but I really think that this is policy that makes a lot of sense in terms of what we're trying to achieve when it comes to incentivizing businesses while also striking a balance, while having a responsibility to taxpayers. In the meeting that we had with Commissioner Haggerty, the issue was raised regarding the median county wage, and if somebody comes in, so like take for example, I guess what we had today, similar to that, where an applicant comes in and they're coming in on the quality jobs section. Currently, it's at 100%. That's still the case, right?
Currently you could go up to.
And Commissioner Haggerty raised the concern that that making 100% is probably a very strict requirement, and I wonder if we'd achieve the same objective if it was something like at 90%. Or
I do want to tell the court is that depending on the merits of a project, we had it come in and it qualified as a quality job project, but it was also one that brought in substantial investment. Then, even the department, the staff, we may come to you and say, you know what, we recommend going above and beyond the policy. Remember that the policy is a guide. It's a guiding tool for us. Don't see it as the limit of the max. It should be a guide, not just for staff, but also for you all when you're out there speaking to the constituents, that it's a tool to help us guide and stay within certain parameters. But sometimes there may be special circumstances that you all as a court are going to see this project merits more consideration than going and giving it, I think on the proposed revisions it shows 75%. Maybe because of the investment amount and the high quality job, or the pay scales are quite high, you may want to go above that. You may want to go to 90% or even 100%. So I would not discourage you from thinking that the policy is your limit of your high and your low for investment.
Appreciated. It just, I think the whole purpose of this is to try to avoid deviations to the extent possible, I guess, and that's, so for example, today, Pacific Union probably, they had over 40% were over the median county wage. But I don't know if 100% of the positions fell under that, so they'd have to come under some sort of exception already, right?
Well, quite exceptional. The proposed ones, I think the highest rebate amount will be 75%. I know earlier you all incentivized the project at 90%. That was under the current policy, which if you approve these, the highest rebate amount will be 75%. And we'll encourage you to try and stay within the parameters, but again, you all may want to discuss it, and when we're in executive session, we can discuss those merits of the project as far as looking at it in terms of the investment, the quality jobs, and any other considerations that are brought forward before the court.
But 100, so of the 699 jobs that came in, 100% were above the median county wage?
Yeah, that's correct.
100%.
Then there was another question regarding the local homegrown businesses, where it says that a company must invest a minimum of $50,000 and can't exceed a maximum investment of $20 million. So in looking at this, and when we look at, I guess I don't want to wade into things I don't think that we've approved in executive session. There have been certain projects that I don't think have reached the $20 million minimum as capital intensive projects. But at the same time, they weren't really small business projects as well. So I don't want to create policies where we're carving out a lot of incentives, but I just wanted to make sure that here where it says under local homegrown businesses, it's $50,000 and can exceed a maximum investment of $20 million.
That's the minimum investment, $50,000.
Right, and can exceed, and I can see where that is intended to line up with the $20 million on the capital intensive side. But like, let's say if we have a project that's, I don't know, in the neighborhood of 18 million or so, like, it's clearly they don't meet the capital intensive project. But I guess, is it fair to say that, is that the intent of, or is that the Commissioner's Court intent that they're a local homegrown business so long. That's.
Well, I think the court identified local home businesses as one area, one category that you all would like to see incentivized, being the fact that we want to encourage local companies to grow in the region. We want them to grow here in El Paso County, and that's why this incentive exists. If there's a project like that falls just below, that's not local homegrown, and maybe it's just under the threshold under capital intensive, the $20 million, and there might be other considerations. We may bring it to you, but I think we got to try and stay within the thresholds. I don't think in any incentive, when you set up incentive policies, it's not meant to cover everything and anything. You have to have a focus for incentivizing projects. And so what we're saying here in the general Part A policy is that you want to incentivize local homegrown businesses, and you also want to encourage large investments to come to El Paso. Now, outside of that, if it's a small business but it's not local homegrown, they can decide to invest in one of the 8 investment zones. And if they so doing, then they can really fall under one of the various incentive categories that are there. And so you really have to look at, we're focusing on those investment zones where we're targeting our investments, we're targeting in the incentivization into those investment zones. That's focus and development for you working. And keep into consideration these investment zones, several of them are within the city of El Paso, like the downtown area. That includes all the way to the Medical Center of the Americas. We have the Northwest sector, which includes a fast-growing region, which is the Anthony Vinton area, Horizon City, the Mission Trail, which has different purposes for incentivizing. And we recognize that, and that's why each investment zone, the incentives that are proposed there are unique to that investment zone. They're not alike across the board.
Okay. Well, but just go back to the original question. I just don't know if, like I said, somebody who might not qualify under the $20 million threshold, I don't know if they would try to use that, which is a very, $50,000 at the starting point to $20 million. I don't know if that's opens it up to, well, I don't fall under the capital intensive thing. I'm just a little short, but yeah. But I guess it would depend if it was homegrown, I guess, if that's what the court wished, right? We will definitely look at it carefully. And then I guess you mentioned the investment corridors. I supported the Horizon City, and I'm glad to see that Horizon City is included in here. For the most part, the Commissioners Court, I think, has expressed a desire to have 75% as a cap. And I think when it comes to the city of Horizon, I mean, one of the major reasons that it is included in here is because they have their own economic development corporation. And since it has its own economic development corporation, I'm wondering if perhaps us staying consistent and having a 75% threshold rather than 90%, because the whole point of that there is also to have a partnership with the Economic Development Corporation, and it is limited to the city limits of Horizon, and not necessarily like just west of Horizon in the MUDs or anything like that.
It's actually limited to certain major thoroughfares in Horizon, so it's not the entire city of Horizon.
Right. But I guess my point is just that because the EDC that they created is exclusively in the city of Horizon.
Yes.
So technically, we should be partnering with them for these types of projects. I mean, we were approached by them, but that's just another comment that I just wanted to put, that I wonder if it could be a little bit more consistent rather than it going up to the 90% real and personal property.
That maybe we consider bringing it down? Right. Well, I mean, that's within the court's purview. I mean, you have all that. Even though it's in there 90%, you all can decide to go 70 or 60, if that's the case. The other thing I want to point out is with my discussions with Mike Hernandez from Horizon City Economic Development Corporation, if we bring a project forth to the court, we would also expect the Horizon City to be a partner in this, to have some consideration in terms of putting some type of incentive on the table because it has to make sense. If it's something that they're bringing to us, it's got to make sense, not just for Horizon City, but also for the county.
Okay. I'll give you my other notes later. The biggest point that I think we had talked a little bit about this morning that I wanted to explore with you is when it comes to those businesses that are quality jobs, and it's you know I don't know if we've given this a lot of consideration, but you know we don't have many tools in the toolbox. You know we have property taxes. It's pretty much it. Sometimes we'll try to look at other things that we have available, but for the most part, what we have at our disposal is property taxes. So in the case of the economic development incentive today that we had, there was 700 jobs, all very high quality jobs that are going to have a major impact in our community. But we looked at only the $1.2 million of investment, and which is why relatively the incentive is relatively low, because we're looking at both real property and personal property.
Correct.
Would it be possible to create an incentive policy based on perhaps the number of jobs created and the level of salary that job encompasses, which would seem to me to make more sense? So if a company is bringing in 200 jobs, they'd get, and then whatever based on the salary, we'd have to look at perhaps some formulas and look at the economic impact and how much above the median county wage, and then perhaps we can come up with a grant that comes from the general fund per employee. That way it makes more sense than if somebody wants to come in like today, what we saw with 700 jobs, there's more of an incentive than when it comes to quality jobs, where it's based on the number of jobs versus the actual property. Because I think the investment that we saw today, I don't know what the total investment was of payroll. I don't know if you all know that.
30 million.
30 million. I mean, that's
33 million.
and that number sort of got skipped over because we were focusing for incentive purposes on the
property
1.2.
tax. Yeah.
And of course, we're trying to generate return on our property taxes, but when it comes to quality jobs, these folks are obviously going to buy homes. They're going to contribute to our tax base, things of that nature. I wonder if having a policy when it comes to quality jobs like that makes more sense or is doable, but it might be a little difficult, where it might require us to go back, look at the median county wage, look at things like that to try to see if there's some sort of formula that we can come up with.
I mean, I think it would be depend on us, right? I mean, like for example, this company was 100% above the MCW, right? And so I mean, we would probably need to set parameters as to, I mean, if it's above 500 jobs, if it's above 300 jobs, and then how much we would give for. I mean, if we want to have just one level, do we want to have a tiered system? I mean, I think you're right. I think we should. I mean, this is a very clear case as to we're giving them $33,000 based upon it's not a capital intensive project. It's a wages, and that, in my opinion, is the type of investment we should be incentivizing more heavily.
Judge, Commissioners, the way I've seen that done previously, and Jose, I'm sure you all could speak to this as well, is you do it based on, you take your median county wage for that same number of jobs, and then you say, depending on the number of jobs and the amount over median county wage, and you come up with actually a mathematical formula, and then you say you're going to give a percentage incentive back based on how much they are over. So the value of what they are over creating median county wages. So just using the example today, $30 million in payroll versus if those jobs had only been median county, say, and I haven't done the math, but say the value of those jobs being at median county wage was $12 million. And you get the difference, the $18 million, and you come up with a percentage incentive back for those. And I know I've seen where states have adopted that kind of policy where they'll get some kind of incentive, 0.5% based on the payroll that they create above the average wage, or something of that nature, up to 0.5% or something like that. And then that way it's always based. So even if they create less jobs, but they're significantly over median county wage, or they're not as great over median county wage, some amount over median county wage, but they create create a large amount of jobs, such as this company, 700, that are all over median county wage, it captures it either way, and you're giving it that incentive back based on that. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And so that's something I definitely think we could go back and explore and look at for the policy. I think what we'd ask is that the court consider adopting at least this much of the policy, and then let us continue to work on the wage, some ideas on wage incentives.
Yeah. And again, I want to thank you because this has been very thought-provoking, and it's not easy to really come up with these. But I very much appreciate the work that's it's at least made me think about the way it is that we do incentive policies and ultimately achieving a policy objective, whether it be capital investment or whether it be quality jobs, and how we go about doing that investment. So.
It is thought-provoking, and we can go back and look at this down the road as something that we can bring to the court. But we would probably want to do this like in a special session also, so that we can decide on the rebate amounts, the levels of the rebate, and also identify, not just based on property tax, but maybe identify another way of how we want to fund for it. Because instead of $33,000, we could be bringing you a request for much more based on whatever we come out with. So those are all detail items that need to be looked at, not just from the amount of the rebate, but the breakout of how many levels you want to have there, and then finding the impact of how much are you going to throw at this in terms of incentivizing. So there's a lot of things that need to be worked out before we do that. Okay.
That
I'll
is
be glad
helpful,
to do
Commissioner,
Yes,
because
sorry.
you look at the city and all that they were able to put forward, and we had our 33,000, which is helpful, but they had, what was it?
Over 300,000.
3,000.
Yeah, so that is helpful to have another
right, and some of it came from, I think they had off of their permits, permitting. They got their sales tax, they got that rebated, and then also their franchise fee. I guess they were able to use part of that to come up, and we just don't have those tools.
Right.
And it's just we want to be sure that also we're not just giving away incentives when a company is going to relocate here, but that again there's some logic to it, and that. But I think this policy is certainly getting us there. And I appreciate all the time and effort that's gone into it. Those are just some of the things I was thinking about as we consider today's economic development and then as we look at the new policy.
I'll be glad to continue looking at this very well and working with your office as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. I move to approve.
Second.
Aye.
Young?
Aye.
Commissioner Stout?
This and that's as proposed, because Commissioner Perez was talking about the horizon going down to 75%. That's not including that, right?
No, as proposed.
No, as proposed.
Okay. Aye.
Commissioner Haggerty? Was that aye?
Yeah, sorry. Aye.
Thank you.
My mic
Judge,
keeps turning off magically.
sorry. Judge vote?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you to all of you.
Public Works, item 17. Approve and authorize the county
Ms.
public
Pizek,
works.
just one second.
I'm sorry.
Certainly.
Jose, one thing that we did discuss was the healthcare services. Was that ultimately removed, or is that?
Yeah, we removed the emergency clinics from the healthcare services.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
I apologize, Ms. Pizek. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge. Item 17, approve and authorize the County Public Works Department to accept donations of live potted plant Christmas trees after the holidays to be used at county parks and other county facilities.
Good morning.
Good afternoon, Judge,
Good afternoon.
Commissioners. Norma Palacios, Public Works Department. This idea has been around for about a decade, and today we have an opportunity to be part of this. We're requesting the court's authorization to allow Public Works to partner with various sources here in the community to promote the usage of live potted trees by accepting these trees after the holidays to be planted at our county parks and other county facilities. We're requesting the court's approval to move forward with this effort. Any questions?
Commissioner Haggerty?
I just have a quick one. Is there like a maximum we can, I mean, if we get like a huge number of trees, is there a place for all of them, or?
And we also have a an area in Escárate Park where we can place them if we don't need all of them immediately.
Okay.
The tree farm.
We do have a tree farm.
Okay, I mean, hopefully it's widely successful and we're stuck with a huge number of trees. But I just don't want to be like, we were just kidding. We're gonna kill all these.
No, and currently we need a lot of trees, so I think it would be beneficial. But if we had extra ones, we can place them in our tree farm.
Okay,
to be used at a later date.
Commissioner Leon?
Yeah, and one more question, Norma.
Sure.
Once we receive these trees and plant them, is there an additional cost insofar as watering them?
Well, it'd be this similar cost, Commissioner, if we had to purchase them from our own funds. We don't have that type of funding, so it'd be beneficial for the county. Yes, we are going to have to water them, but they'd be watered just part of the entire area. For example, our sprinklers are used to water the grass, so that'd be just part of that effort.
So we can afford the donations?
Yes, I see a real benefit, more of a benefit than us spending money, county's money on this.
It would be great to get a report after the holiday season and see how many trees actually came in,
And
we will do that.
And just on a side note, some of the areas where we do need trees, we have added irrigation to those areas over the last few years through funding that the court has set aside for park development. So some of the areas where we started with a minimum number of trees, we'll be able to assess and add trees as the irrigation's available there.
Yeah, thank you.
With the recent park improvements.
Norma, have we figured out how this will work? Do we have drop-off sites? How will this?
We're planning also, the first person who's interested in donating some of these trees will drop them off. And so we're going to continue this effort that all trees be brought to Escárate Park. That's where we're thinking that we would accept these trees, and our staff would distribute the trees.
Judge, and on that, Norma's saying the first person, that's actually a nursery. So the nursery would let individuals know who buy a live tree. If you'd like to donate your tree back, that the nursery would make arrangements to pick it back up from the homeowner or from the purchaser, and then they would make coordinated deliveries to us. That's the same, if the court approves it, we would then reach out to the other nurseries to set up the same type of system to see if they'd be willing to at least be the collection point or the information point to the purchasers.
Okay. And do we know of any other programs that exist that are similar to this, where another government entity is taking back trees, or the city, or?
In other communities, not here in El Paso. Okay. But we did look into that, and yes, a lot of communities are doing this. This has become standard practice for the last 10 years.
Thank you.
Move to approve. Second.
Commissioner Perez?
Aye.
Commissioner Leon?
Aye.
Commissioner Stout?
Aye.
Commissioner Haggerty?
Aye.
Judge vote?
Aye.
Motion carries.
And Ms. Pitek, for number 18, 19, and 20, can we read all three into the record? And then we'll open it up for public comment on all three.
Thank you, Judge. Item 18, discuss and take appropriate action for a variance request from the County of El Paso subdivision regulations for Homestead Meadows South Unit 2, Replat K. Item 19, discuss and take appropriate action for a variance request from the County of El Paso subdivision regulations for Painted Sky at Mission Ridge Unit 2. And item 20, discuss and take appropriate action for a variance request from the County of El Paso subdivision regulations for Peyton Estates Unit 6.
Norma Palacios, Public Works Department. Do you want to open it up?
Is there anybody from the public here who wishes to speak on items 18, 19, or 20? I don't think so, Norma, so you can go ahead and present on these.
These variances request, I'll take item 18 first. This is a variance request from the developer to allow for the reduction of lot frontage to allocate required sanitary flows for their septic tank. The Public Works engineer has reviewed, and we're recommending approval. There is no fiscal impact to the county. Item 19, it's a similar request, but this is a variance request for right-of-way. And Again, the Public Works engineer has reviewed, and we're recommending approval of this item also. The last one is item number 20. It is there are four variance requests. Two of them address the right-of-way, one addresses the yard setbacks, and the other one the lot areas. Public Works engineers has reviewed. There's no fiscal impact to the county, and we're recommending approval. Any questions that I might answer?
Move to approve.
Second.
Commissioner Pettis?
Aye.
Commissioner Leon?
Aye.
Commissioner Stout?
Aye.
Commissioner Haggerty?
Aye.
Judge Vogt?
Aye.
Thank you so much.
Motion carries. Purchasing item 21, approve and authorize county judge and to sign the DIR contract with Verizon Wireless, DIR TSO 3415, to provide cellular service on a 2-year term for the county of El Paso. Contract number 2017-0554.
Good morning.
Good afternoon, I
Good
think.
afternoon.
Deborah Correjo, County Purchasing Agent. The county in the past has tried to bid this particular service, and it was successful. However, in 2012, when we moved to the DIR contract, it is better for the county because we actually gain some benefits in addition to the cost savings because it's a pooled type of contract instead of an overage or minutes. We will actually have no disconnect or connect fees, so we can be more maneuverable with the. So we'd like to go ahead and get authorization and have the judge sign this contract because we do have over 200 phones right now that need to be covered.
Move to approve.
Commissioner
Second.
Hagan moved to approve. Commissioner Leon seconded.
Commissioner, who seconded?
I did.
Leon, thank you. Commissioner Pettis?
Aye.
Commissioner Leon?
Aye.
Commissioner Stout?
Aye.
Commissioner Haggerty?
Aye.
Judge Vogt?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 22, reject the low bidder B Equipment Sales Ltd. as non-responsive and award bid number 17045, purchase of one 2017-2018 truck-mounted asphalt distributor for Public Works Road and Bridge to RJ Border International LP, El Paso, Texas, in the amount of $160,285. Purchasing approved recommendation on November 28, 2017. Funds are available in account CIP 17 R&B vehicles.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Deborah Correjo, County Purchasing Agent. This was a standard bid. One of the bidders was non-responsive, so we are requesting award to the lowest responsive and responsible bidder.
Move to approve.
Second.
Commissioner Pettis.
Aye.
Commissioner Leon.
Aye.
Commissioner Stout.
Aye.
Commissioner Haggerty.
Aye.
Judge Vogt.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Budget and Finance, item 23. Approve amendment number 8 to the County of El Paso's 2017-2018 operating budget. This budgetary amendment will increase grants by $25,672.20, thus increasing the overall budget of $424,111,536.59 to $424,137,208.79.
Good afternoon, County Judge and Commissioners. Gabby Federal from the Budget and Fiscal Policy Department. This budget transfer is to set up the Election Chapter 19 funds. Historically, we've always had this account as a special revenue. However, after further discussion between the county auditors and our office and a review by legal, we feel that a grant or setting it up as a grant will be a better way to classify the kind of funds that we're getting and be able to allow the department the use of these funds. Do you all have any questions?
Move to approve.
Second.
Thank you.
Commissioner Pettis.
Aye.
Commissioner Leon.
Aye.
Commissioner Stout?
Aye.
Commissioner Haggerty?
Aye.
Judge vote.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item
Commissioners,
24, executive session.
before we go into executive session, would you like to go ahead and move forward and wrap up the meeting, or would you like to take a break for lunch? I think the only item that may take some time may be the opioid
I
item.
say we get it done. We're close enough now. I say we get it done personally.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
So-
it'll be about 20 minutes to half an hour, I think.
Sure.
Hey, don't make promises you can't keep, okay? Don't be making promises you can't keep.
I'm not coming back after that then.
We can, yeah, let's take a
It's a
maybe
fi- yeah.
5-minute break.
Thank you, Judge. So we're going to move into executive session then?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners Court will now recess into executive session to discuss items 24A and 24C through 24F pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.071. The court will reconvene to take official action. We're recessing at 12:22 p.m.
Paso launched the prescription discount card program from coast to coast. The cards are available to all El Paso County residents free of charge and everyone qualifies. You can pick up a card at any county office location, Walgreens, Walmart, CVS, or Target pharmacies, or simply print the card at www.coastrx.com. Happy savings!
Don't wait in line, pay online. Visit the Financial Recovery Division website at http://www.epcounty.com/budget/financialrecovery.htm to make your payments online or find out more about our kiosk locations. We now accept payments on misdemeanor, felony, and justice of the peace cases.
Did you know that the County of El Paso's fixed asset control and inventory disposal is handled through the purchasing department? Throughout the course of each business year, the county holds live public auctions to dispose of aged equipment, vehicles, furniture, and other items that are no longer needed. To find out about upcoming auctions or to learn more about the county's inventory disposal process, contact the purchasing department at telephone number 915-546-2048.
The 346 District Court Judge Angie Juarez Barriz started the El Paso Veterans Treatment Court program in 2012 for veterans and active service members that have been arrested and charged with a felony or misdemeanor criminal offense. To be considered for the specialty court, the statutory criteria includes be a veteran or current member of the United States Armed Forces, including a member of the Reserves, National Guard, or State Guard, and suffer from a brain injury, mental illness, or mental disorder, including PTSD, or be a victim of military sexual trauma, all occurring or resulting from military service. Call Sylvia Serna, Veterans Program Director at 915-546-2119, or email her at sserna@epcounty.com for any information.
Join us at Escalante Park for the 3rd annual Lights on the Lake, Saturday, December 9th at 5 p.m. This holiday event is full of family fun and holiday tradition. The event begins at 5 p.m. with a Jingle Bell Jog, a fun stroll around the lake in your craziest holiday sweater. The lighting ceremony begins at 6 with performances by local groups, community vendors, and more. A free holiday movie, A Christmas Story, begins at 7 p.m. We hope to see you there, December 9th at 5 p.m. at Escalante Park.
You can now watch Commissioners Court meetings on YouTube. Go to youtube.com and search for El Paso County Commissioners or El Paso County, Texas. Subscribe to our channels to see our latest videos.
Commissioner Andrew Haggerty would like to invite you to his weekly breakfast meeting that takes place every Wednesday at 7:30 a.m. at Denny's Diner, located at 4690 Trans Mountain Road. Every week he has a different speaker who will be discussing topics of interest for the community. So if you live in the Northeast, West Side, or anywhere else in the county, come and join us for the breakfast meeting.
Did you know the County of El Paso's Purchasing Department is responsible for ensuring that all items and services needed by various county departments are purchased in the manner required by the state of Texas? Whether through formal sealed bids or smaller dollar quotations, the county purchasing team is dedicated to finding the best contracting return on your taxpayer dollars. Additionally, the purchasing department is responsible for the tracking of inventory within the county and properly disposing surplus to public auctions. For questions about how to become a vendor and compete for county contracts, or to learn more about public auctions, please contact us at telephone number 915-546-2048.
Did you know that you can save money on the cost of your medications? And doing so is easy. In 2015, the County of El Paso launched a prescription discount card program from coast to coast. The cards are available to all El Paso County residents free of charge and everyone qualifies. You can pick up a card at any county office location, Walgreens, Walmart, CVS, or Target pharmacies, or simply print the card at www.coastrx.com. Happy savings!
Don't wait in line, pay online. Visit the Financial Recovery Division website at http://www.epcounty.com/budget/financialrecovery.htm to make your payments online or find out more about our kiosk locations. We now accept payments on misdemeanor, felony, and justice of the peace cases.
Did you know that the County of El Paso's fixed asset control and inventory disposal is handled through the Purchasing Department? Throughout the course of each business year, the county holds live public auctions to dispose of aged equipment, vehicles, furniture, and other items that are no longer needed. To find out about upcoming auctions or to learn more about the county's inventory disposal process, contact the Purchasing Department at telephone number 915-546-2048.
The 346 District Court Judge Angie Juarez Barriz started the El Paso Veterans Treatment Court program in 2012 for veterans and active service members that have been arrested and charged with a felony or misdemeanor criminal offense. To be considered for the specialty court, the statutory criteria includes be a veteran or current member of the United States Armed Forces, including a member of the Reserves, National Guard, or State Guard, and suffer from a brain injury, mental illness, or mental disorder, including PTSD, or be a victim of military sexual trauma, all occurring or resulting from military service. Call Sylvia Serna, Veterans Program Director at 915-546-2119, or email her at sserna@epcounty.com for any information.
Commissioners Court has reconvened at 1:16 p.m. Item 26, discuss and take action regarding potential litigation regarding opioid costs. County Attorney Case Number 024417 PL. No action on this item. Item 27, discuss and take action on the pending claim of Paula Alvarado, County Attorney's File Number 000317 LC. No action on this item. And this completes today's agenda.
Thank you very much, everybody. We are adjourned. Thank you.
Meeting is adjourned.
Just as you sit down.
At 1:17 p.m.